What's up, Peak Timers? Phil here. We are on PTR Vlogs. Welcome to today's video, and we are talking about the 2020 Corvette. I've had a lot of people ask me about the 2020 Corvette. What's my opinion on it? A couple people have even asked if I'm getting one, and no, unfortunately, I haven't put an order in for one. But let's go ahead and talk about it. The price is the main thing that kind of attracts a lot of people to the car. The fact that you can get a supercar type of performance car and looking car for $60,000 US. It's approximately $80,000 in Canadian price where it is where I live, but still, for that price, it's cheaper than so many crazy cars. So it's kind of like a disruption in the market per se. If you don't know what that means that, like, let's say when the iPhone came out, it kind of disrupted the smartphone technology. The smartphone technology kind of took off, and it kind of made like a whole nother jump into the era of smartphones. So that's kind of what I think the Corvette's gonna do. The Corvette is kind of gonna disrupt the market for cars in performance cars, because you got to think about this. The most comparable car I can think about for the 2020 Corvette is the McLaren 570S. Now, McLaren 570S, great looking performance car, really fast, 0 to 60 in around the 3-second mark, which is the same as the Corvette. But I would say the Corvette and the 570S both look amazing. Obviously, you don't get the crazy doors on the Corvette that you do on the McLaren, but when you get the same performance, you get the same good looks on a car, yet the Corvette is $60,000. The McLaren is gonna run you at, like, a brand new one, starts around $200,000. It's just below $200,000 for the MSRP, but when you actually spec it out to a top model spec or a kind of a mid model spec, you're looking at like $220,000 or so. And even when you look on the used market for a car that's like 2 years old, they're looking at like $150,000 US for a 570S. And that's for a car that has the same performance numbers, and it's probably a little bit more exclusive than the Corvette, because the Corvette's going to be more of a mainstream car. But still, that is just crazy that you can get a Corvette for less than half of the cost of a used McLaren 570S, which is probably the most comparable performance car. You also look at like cars like the Acura NSX, great looking mid-engine car, good performance, equivalent performance to the 2020 Corvette. Again, it's like double the price as what a 2020 Corvette is. So the Corvette is just, it's gonna disrupt the market. It's gonna bring prices down of these higher end cars. Like, people are not gonna buy these crazy high end cars, especially when you think about when the C8 ZR1 or the C8 Z06 comes out, when those cars are gonna have even better and more capable performance than the McLarens and the Ferraris and all those other cars. My dog's barking in the background. So it's just crazy the amount of performance that you can get for cheap nowadays. I mean, I even look at cars like, for example, like a Tesla Model 3. A Tesla Model 3 you can get for like $40,000 US, and the performance numbers it does is like around the 5 seconds 0 to 60 range. And that's just, it's ridiculous how cheap horsepower is getting in this day and era. I mean, obviously that's an electric car, it's a little bit different, but let's say a C8 ZR1 comes out with like 900 to 1,000 horsepower mid-engine. That's like, it's gonna be Bugatti level performance on a car that's probably going to cost around the $120,000 to $150,000 range, which is, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I love it though. I love it because it just means it's going to bring down the prices of used car. The used car market, it's going to start to go down, and you're going to be able to get cars that are crazy performance cars for a lot cheaper. I'd love to go pick up a C7 Z06 for like $30,000. That would be crazy. That would be crazy to get that level of performance for a $30,000 vehicle. And to think that even a C8 will probably depreciate a little bit in the next 3 or 4 years, you're gonna be able to get a 0 to 60 car in 3 seconds flat for maybe $40,000. I mean, I'm speculating, but it could be like, to get that level of performance for that cheap, it's unreal. Do I think that the 2020 Corvette's gonna come to Hot Wheels? A lot of people have asked me that. Quick answer, yes, it's gonna come to Hot Wheels. I'm almost positive it's gonna come to Hot Wheels, because Hot Wheels makes every Corvette possible, but we'll leave Hot Wheels for the other channel. But anyways, guys, what do you think about the 2020 Corvette? Do you guys love it as much as I? Do you think it's gonna disrupt the market as much as I? What do you guys think manufacturers like Dodge and Ford are thinking right now? Ford does have a mid-engine fast car, the Ford GT, but it's not comparable to the Corvette. The price of a Ford GT is like 10 times the cost of what a Corvette costs. You can't compare those on the same level, even though when you put the performance numbers together, I bet you the Corvette and the Ford GT are pretty level on performance. So it's crazy that you can get that level of performance, again, for $60,000. I mean, I don't know what Dodge is doing. Dodge is kind of like canceling their Dodge Viper. I would love, I know, to see a Dodge Viper mid-engine. Would you guys like to see that? Is that just not right? But I mean, I guess a lot of people said a mid-engine Corvette is not right. But to do what Chevy does, like, you have to achieve that level of performance by going mid-engine. Dodge, the Vipers are just so powerful, it's just nearly impossible to drive them. You need to get to that level of performance by putting in a mid-engine in there. And then also the dual clutch thing. Vipers have all been manual transmissions. They haven't even offered an automatic transmission, so they would have to completely change the Viper DNA if they were to go to a mid-engine. But who knows if that's actually gonna happen. I'd love to see the competition come out. Come on, let's see it from Dodge, let's see it from Ford. We gotta see some crazy cars come out. The Mustang from Ford, it's not on the same level as a Corvette. I've always thought of Mustang as one below the Corvette. Don't get me wrong, Mustangs are awesome, I really like them, but they're just not the same level as what a Corvette is. So we gotta see something from them. So we'll have to see, guys. But let's go ahead, let's talk about it. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. What do you guys think of the 2020 Corvette? Is it gonna disrupt the market? Do you think Dodge and Ford can come out with something to compete with it? Do you think the prices of exotics from other manufacturers are gonna drop in price by a lot? Let's discuss in the comments down below, guys. I'll catch you on the next vlog. Bye-bye.